chilly weather today. High temperature at 30, northwest wind at 15 to 25. For tonight, mainly clear skies.
Hey, good morning and welcome. It's great to have you here.
To 36,
Just
with
getting
a wind
ready
of
to
southern
get underway.
bounce, light southeast wind,
Donald Trump
and a
is
chance of light snow Wednesday,
finished
5:30
making
degrees.
his
From the Storm Center at Timberland TV,
selections
I'm
for
Brian
his cabinet. That's
Where the
big
only
news,
race that
but
matters is the
a
race
lot
for
of
a
stories
better
trending
informed
regarding
public.
that, and we'll talk
News Talk
about that this
1320
morning.
107.9
But really,
and
it's
Kellogg.com.
his deportation plan that's really leading the news. So
I love the Greg Belfrage
let's get to
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sounded a little taller on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. It's great to have you along this Monday, November 25th already today. We're closing in very, very rapidly on Thanksgiving. So it's great to have you along. Just a heads up, when it comes to Thanksgiving this week, there will be no Greg Belfrage show this Thursday and Friday. So no Greg Belfrage show Thursday and Friday. I want to give you a heads up about that. But it is great to have you along this morning. So Donald Trump and his deportation plan. Axios has got a piece on this. They're saying it's one thing to call the largest deportation in American history. It's another to pull it off logistically. And this is what I worry about. What is going to happen in the courts? What will happen in the courts? And Axios says the current backlog of 3.7 million court cases will take 4 years to resolve at the current pace, but that could balloon to 16 years under Donald Trump and what he's talking about with mass deportation. So also, you've got the mayor of Denver Mayor Mike Johnston, who is one of several mayors that has said that he would not assist the Trump, the incoming Trump administration with its deportation plan. And so Senator Rand Paul was on the Sunday shows over the weekend. He was on CBS on Face the Nation. And Rand Paul then responding to this, and Senator Paul said, I don't know whether or not there would be a criminal prosecution for someone resisting federal law. But he said of the Denver mayor, he will lose. The people need to realize that what he is offering is a form of insurrection where the states resist the federal government, he said. Most people objected to that and rejected that long ago. So I think the mayor of Denver is on the wrong side of history. And really, I think will face legal ramifications if he doesn't obey the federal law. And you've got to wonder about that. These mayors who are openly saying that they're not going to participate. Tom Homan has been talking about that. Now Senator Rand Paul talking about that. Others have. It's incredibly frustrating. The idea that they're just not going to follow the federal law. This is, the nation has been down that road once before. It's what led to a civil war in this country. This is it's pretty incredible. But also, Senator Paul said he opposes using the military for these mass deportations. And he said, what we know now about the immigration authorities would have to be charged with rounding these individuals up. There are just 6,000 agents, 41,000 detention beds to carry out the assignment of rounding up millions of undocumented people potentially. He was asked, how do you suggest they implement it? And so Paul was asked, now again, this is Margaret Brennan of CBS who's asking the question. And she said, and if this is a red line for you in terms of using the military, would you vote no on DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, Paul was asked. And Rand Paul said, I will not support and will not vote to use the military in our cities. I think it's a terrible image, he said. So there have been conversations about this. He said he doesn't recommend to use the army in the deportations, but he would use the FBI. I would use ICE. I would use Border Patrol. If they send the army into New York and you have 10,000 troops marching, carrying semi-automatic weapons, I think that's a terrible image, and I will oppose that. But it's not that I oppose removing people, he said. So how we do it, I think, is the issue. He doesn't oppose doing it. It's rather a matter of how it's done. That was Senator Rand Paul on CBS over the weekend. Meanwhile, well, we're talking about CBS News. They've got a new poll out. CBS News YouGov poll found that the majority of voters approve of Donald Trump's handling of the transition. So, pretty overwhelming support. The it's about 60% of folks. Yeah, 59%. 59% who expressed their approval in the way that Trump is handling the presidential or transition. And they were asked, how do you feel about these individual choices that, for instance, Senator Marco Rubio, as Secretary of State, 44% thought that was a good choice. 75% of Trump voters said it was a good choice. Also, the Politico had a story talking about what's going on in the transition, and that, for instance, they're talking, this piece talks about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he reached out to the Health and Human Services Department multiple times after Donald Trump tapped him, because, again, transition begins generally after the election, mid-November. So now we're into pretty late November, soon to be December. And so this is causing some issues. And there are those who are calling for background checks. You got to have these background checks completed, and Donald Trump is working around those. He's just, so those agreements are not in place. It means that Trump's team can't access any non-public government data. And this is, it's going to, they'll wind up running these departments, but as of right now, it's kind of a legal standoff, is what Politico is reporting. And this is getting a lot of attention. Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, told ABC News This Week program, he said, in regard to these background checks and so on, he said, it's not a voter concern. Said what the American public cares about is to see the mandate they voted in delivered on, he said. And he said, don't let, he was talking about, the allegations against Matt Gaetz and so on. And he says, don't let these allegations distract us. What we need is real significant change. The Pentagon has been more focused on pronouns than they have on lethality for the past 4 years. We need to get back to business, and I think Pete is just the person to do it. And Fox News is reporting this morning, I don't know if you heard at the top of the hour, is that Hegseth is likely to win confirmation And I understand this, you back and forth, and Democrats, I understand they're going to try to obstruct Donald Trump. That's what they do. It's absolutely what they do. So the question, I think, has been, will Republicans come together enough to be able to move forward on all of this? And so, according to reports, it sounds like that's happening. Haggerty also said that Trump will fire the members of his administration who don't follow his agenda. And he also talked about some of the current members of President Joe Biden's cabinet and things that they did. For instance, the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan. He was critical of Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. He said they've not been held to account. President Trump will fix people that don't do their job well. I fully expect everybody coming into the cabinet will listen to President Trump. They'll let him set the policy and they'll execute according to that plan. So, also, there's a piece this morning at the Washington Examiner. Headline caught my attention. Democrats turn on each other in battle for soul of the party. What's going to happen? There are a number of stories along these lines. Democrats and where they go from here, and some of the things that they're saying. There's a lot of conversation about that, because obviously this was just a huge defeat for the Democratic Party. You've got some within the party who are trying to, determine the best way to move forward. And this is pretty crazy. Representative Seth Moulton is an example. Representative Moulton, he's a Democrat from Massachusetts. And he said recently, and this offended a number of Democrats who immediately wanted to distance themselves from Moulton. And this is the problem that Democrats have. He said Democrats spend way too much time trying not to offend anyone rather than being brutally honest about the challenges many Americans face, he said. I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. And then you immediately had people, he lost one of his campaign manager then, who immediately quit as a result of this. Other Democrats who were distancing themselves from what Moulton says. And, those of us, I think, on Main Street listen to that and go, wow, okay, nice to know that finally somebody is getting it. But I think the reaction to Moulton shows just how deep-seated these problems are for the Democrat Party. So they're going to, they're licking their wounds, and they're going to be back. And I don't know that they'll be back with some new strategy that's going to win voters over. We'll see. I think from where they are to where they want to be is a hell of a long journey. They're not going to get there overnight. They're not going to get there easily. And you got Democrats like Seth Moulton, who was saying what's obvious to many of us, and then the Democrats immediately, they got to disavow that, a long way away from being able to move that party forward. And their reaction to Representative Moulton is a great example. Also, Tom Homan sat down with justthenews.com. They do a TV show, Just the News, No Noise. And Holman told them that federal law trumps state and local law every time, he said. Talking about, you got these communities who are saying that they're not going to, as we were talking about a few moments ago, these communities that are not going to follow the directive. And Holman said, and we know someone's in a county jail and we know they're there. How do we know it? When they run the fingerprints from NCIC, they bounce against the DHS database. We know, okay? We just got prints off this alien in this jail because his fingerprints just came back, and that's where he's at right now. So if we know he's there, they don't give us access to them. Is that not harboring? He says. And he said he will ask Donald Trump's attorney general, it's Pam Bondi, as we talked about on Friday, that Trump is nominated. He said he'll ask Pam Bondi for a formal opinion on whether a county or city jail's refusal to turn over an illegal alien in custody to ICE, is that a federal criminal violation? He said, I'll leave that up to the attorney general, but I think it needs to be fully reviewed, and I hope they agree with me, he said. So, also, Holman says he hopes that Trump is going to work on other things as well. He wants to ban federal funds to local and state jurisdictions then that give sanctuary to illegal aliens. He said, we've got to pull federal funding. We've got to take the money away. And look, I'm hoping to come to the game ready because President Trump and myself, we've been clear public safety threats and national security threats would be the priority right out of the gate. But he said we got plenty in the fight. So, what mayor or governor doesn't want public safety threats out of their communities? A lot of them, it appears. It's which is just kind of shocking, I think. Also, there's a story, and Fox News has got a story this morning. There was a report that Secretary of State Antony Blinken, it was reported that the State Department held therapy sessions for employees who were upset by Donald Trump's victory in the election. And so Representative Darrell Issa of California sent a letter to Blinken saying, I'm concerned that the department is catering to federal employees who are personally devastated by the normal functioning of American democracy through the provision of government-funded mental health counseling because Kamala Harris didn't win the election. It's just crazy. Meanwhile, Breitbart's got a story. Those who were part of the resistance movement against Trump are now facing a disillusionment with activism after Trump won. So they don't know what to do. Because they just got their clocks clean, right? So the activism didn't work. And so one political science professor said, when you first see something unexpected, it's really jarring and you react strongly. But the more you see and normalize something that was unexpected, the more you get used to it, he says. So they're trying to figure out which way to go and what they do, which is life goes on. This is Axios has got a piece too. The resistance to Trump goes quiet. The resistance has gone quiet. Maybe they haven't gone anywhere though. They haven't gone anywhere. And I think I don't think it's going to take very long. I think certainly by the time Donald Trump is sworn in, we're going to see them right back at it again. We're going to see the lawsuits. That's what I've been bracing for, the lawsuits. Lawsuits. I just fear what the lawsuits are going to be like. So the resistance to Trump going quiet, but there's an event scheduled for January called the People's March, which, again, activists are concerned then that the turnout is going to be much smaller than the Women's March 8 years ago. So they're worried they're taking a step back. Also, you got Joe Rogan asking to take Rachel Maddow's job if Elon Musk buys MSNBC. Donald Trump Jr. and Elon Musk were joking about Musk buying MSNBC. They were kidding around. And so Joe Rogan is asking to take Rachel Maddow's job. And then finally, I've got to tell you about the death of Chuck Woolery. He has passed away at the age of 83. And he was known as the original host of Wheel of Fortune. Prior to Pat Sajak. Woolery was the original host of Wheel of Fortune, and he died. He was being visited by a longtime friend of his at Woolery's home in Texas, and passed away at the age of 83. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. It's great to have you along. 627, partly cloudy, and 21. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weekdays at 2. Callow, News Talk 1320,
Okay.
107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires. See in-store details about how to get rebates from major tire manufacturers. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson Picture and Combination Windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in a bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
That's ABC Seamless. Stock up on delicious quality meats from Renner Corner Meats. Order beef bundles, pork bundles, and prime rib today. They're taking deer, antelope, and elk for processing, and try their famous homemade real beef jerky now in gift boxes for the holidays. Renner Corner Meats in Renner and rennercorner.com.
Unclaimed Freight Furniture's Black Friday sale is here. Don't wait weeks to save. Get up to 70% off with our lowest prices of the year. That includes quality queen mattresses down to just $3.99. Better yet, get a free sports blanket with any Black Friday purchase. And that's not all. Get 24-month, no interest financing with no minimum purchase and no money down. Head in store for the furniture shopping event of the season at Unclaimed Freight Furniture. Financing is available with approved credit on qualifying purchases. Ask store for details.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pegol is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
Mostly sunny skies today and chilly weather. Our high temperature at 30, northwest wind at 15 to 25 miles per hour. For tonight, also plenty cold, low temperature 15, mainly clear conditions. Tomorrow's high at 36, partly to mostly cloudy skies, and a little light snow possible on Wednesday, high 33. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Brian.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, it's partly cloudy, 21 currently at Kello. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center this morning. Coming up, Sioux Falls police are investigating another homicide. Also, what's in store for the upcoming South Dakota legislative session? Joe will take a look. Details on those stories coming up in moments. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Coast-to-coast storms could disrupt some Thanksgiving holiday travel plans from west to east this week.
For the west, rain along the coast and snow for the higher elevations. 3 to 4 feet will pile up over the Sierra Nevada range and into the Rockies. We also have 2 storms back-to-back for the eastern third of the country, bringing snow for the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, and interior Northeast. Rain for parts of the Southeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the coastal Northeast.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. At least 1 crew member is killed, 3 injured in a DHL cargo plane crash in Lithuania's capital.
It skidded into a house after crashing a mile short of the airport at Vilnius. Security camera footage shows the aircraft descending rapidly out of sight before a fireball fills the night sky. 12 people on the ground were taken to safety.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The cause of the crash is under investigation. America's listening to Fox News.
News brought to you by Sioux Falls Implant and Sedation Dentistry. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. Police are investigating a weekend homicide in a central Sioux Falls neighborhood. According to SFPD, officers were called to the 500 block of South Duluth Avenue on Saturday morning on reports of a stabbing. The victim, a 25-year-old Sioux Falls man, died from his injuries. This is now the 14th homicide this year in Sioux Falls, breaking the all-time yearly record of 13 back in 2020. What's in store for the upcoming South Dakota legislative session? David Owen of the South Dakota Chamber of Commerce says spending is going to be tight.
I will remind people the legislature gave them a $100 million tax break in 2023 session, which has fully taken effect. They have a budget. It's $100 million lighter than it would be.
The 2025 South Dakota legislative session opens January 14th. The city in western South Dakota is celebrating a record month for building permits. The Building Services Division of Rapid City reports a total of 269 building permits issued in October. A city official said the permits had a combined value of around $80 million. The spokesperson is calling 2024 a robust year for Rapid City. South Dakota unemployment rate has dropped below 2%. According to the Department of Labor, unemployment decreased 0.1% down to a very strong 1.9%. Meanwhile, the unemployment average in the U.S. has increased to 4.1%. And in sports over the weekend, the Sioux Falls Skyforce squashed the Indiana Mad Ants 125-98. Number 4 South Dakota upset number 1 North Dakota State 29-28. South Dakota State beat Missouri State 45-9. And the Vikings fended off the Bears 30-27. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Weather brought to you by Intech Cleaning and Restoration. If you need it clean, call the Intech team. IntechClean.com.
Mostly sunny skies and chilly weather today. High temperature 30, northwest wind at 15 to 25. For tonight, mainly clear skies, a low near 15. Tomorrow, recovering to 36 with a blend of sun and clouds, light southeast wind, and a chance of a little light snow Wednesday, high 33. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
You're hearing the news and views you just can't hear anywhere else. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9 and Kello.com.
As of this week, AI has been poking into our lives for 2 years now. ChatGPT and its copycats, they just fascinate us. Often it frightens us, and occasionally it just ticks us off. Just ask Coca-Cola. I'm Kim Commando for Oracle. Cut your current cloud bill in half. Move to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Find out if your company qualifies at oracle.com/cab. Coca-Cola's annual Christmas ad has dropped. Usually it's a warm, emotional message. This year, the ad is based on a 1995 commercial featuring traditional Coca-Cola trucks, all decked out in festive holiday lights. What could go wrong? Coke used AI to generate what's supposed to be cute little animals and polar bears. It has had 1 million views so far. But to Coke's shock, the backlash is intense. The AI seems to leave viewers out in the cold. Years ago, Coke's tagline was once, "It's the real thing." Apparently, here in 2024, not anymore. Get my free newsletter now. Sign up at getkim.com. Even if you think it's a bit overhyped, AI is suddenly everywhere, from self-driving cars to molecular medicine to business efficiency. If it's not in your industry yet, it's coming fast. But AI needs a lot of speed and computing power. So how do you compete without costs just spiraling out of control? Time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. It's a blazing fast and secure platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, plus all your AI machine learning workloads. OCI costs 50% less for computing and 80% less for networking. Thousands of businesses have already upgraded. Oracle's offering to cut your current cloud bill in half if you move to OCI. Offer ends December 31st, 2024. See if your company qualifies for this special offer at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim, oracle.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires, your Give You More tire and automotive store. Financing programs available, 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Your age has never stopped you from doing more. Your health insurance shouldn't either. Introducing Align by Sanford Health Plan, an all-in-one Medicare Advantage option. With Medicare Parts A and B, prescriptions, $0 premiums and copays, and extra benefits. It's one complete plan to care for the whole you. All from a local insurance provider you can trust. Do more with Medicare. Do more with Align by Sanford Health Plan. Open enrollment begins October 15th. For a free guide, visit align.sanfordhealthplan.com today.
Big transmission problem or minor repair? It takes an expert to know. Hi, this is Greg Belfrage for the experts at Jim's National Transmission, downtown at 4th and Weber. When having transmission problems, it's always best to go to a specialist. Most auto repair places will simply replace your transmission, costing you 50 to 70% more than if you went to a transmission specialist. Do yourself a favor and save yourself time and money by taking your vehicle to the pros at Jim's Transmission. They know all the ins and outs of automatic transmission diagnosis. Jim's Transmission, the transmission-only specialist, where transmissions are all they do. Check out their website at jimsautotrans.com for coupons and specials. You'll find their phone number there too, jimsautotrans.com. That's jimsautotrans.com. Jim's National Transmission, downtown at 4th and Weber.
Okay, some mornings you might not have that get up and go.
But at least you can get up and know.
The Greg Belfrage Show, with insightful opinions on the latest stories and frequent weather updates. It'll get you in the know while you're ready.
Excuse me.
Kello News Talk 1320.
.38, partly cloudy and 21 currently at Kello. Good morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Now, the Sioux Falls Stampede have games coming up this weekend. And with the Thanksgiving holiday approaching, they play at an odd game time on Friday. Coming up this Friday, the Sioux Falls Stampede will take on the Sioux City Musketeers at 3:05 that Friday afternoon. Again, most folks have the Thanksgiving weekend off, so they're doing a 3:05 start time coming up. And we've got tickets to that. I'll give you a chance to win those tickets coming up later this morning. Also, on Saturday, the Stampede host the Omaha Lancers, and I've got tickets to that game. So we'll give those away. I want to give those all away this morning so you've got time to pick them up, since this will be a short week. So I'll be listening for your chance to win tickets this morning to see the Sioux Falls Stampede coming up this Friday and Saturday. This portion of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, the CBS News poll finds that Donald Trump starting on a positive note, most people approving of his handling of the transition. So he is, I think now he is, with his most recent selections, I think he is finished. So he's ready to get everything in place, and most folks are approving of the moves that he's been making so far. Also, Donald Trump, as I mentioned, his nominees on Saturday said that he would nominate a former White House aide, Brooke Rollins, to be his agriculture secretary. That was the last of his picks then to lead the executive agencies. Also, Trump nominated former NFL player Scott Turner as the secretary for the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And Trump said of him, Scott is an NFL veteran who, during my first term, served as the first executive director of the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council, hoping to lead an unprecedented effort that transformed our country's most distressed communities, Trump said. Also, Trump announced that former Representative Dr. Dave Weldon will be his pick as the director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And Trump said, in addition to being a medical doctor for 40 years and an Army veteran, Dave has been a respected conservative leader on fiscal and social issues, Trump said. So he made that announcement on Friday evening. Also, Donald Trump announcing Saturday his appointment of Dr. Sebastian Gorka to be the Deputy Assistant to the President, Senior Director of Counterterrorism. So Donald Trump and Gorka have had a relationship here for a while. And Trump said Dr. Gorka has been a tireless advocate for the America First agenda and the MAGA movement, serving previously as a strategist to the president in the first Trump administration, he said. So that's a number of those. And there were some others here late last week and over the weekend that Donald Trump announced, but those are trending this morning. Also, we saw the trial of Daniel Penny. Now, prosecutors and defense attorneys rested their cases on Friday. And Penny's defense attorney said that they were very confident. They said they believe that the jury will exonerate Daniel Penny. They said, we think it's very clear that Jordan Neely did not die of asphyxiation from a chokehold. I think it's even more clear that Daniel Penny did not perceive, intend, or otherwise disregard any risk of death. So Penny did not testify at his own trial, probably a smart move. Other stories that are trending this morning. The North American box office. Got a real shot in the arm from a couple of new films. Wicked Part 1 and Gladiator 2 both roared to the top of the North American box office this weekend. So Wicked is the latest take on The Wizard of Oz. So it took in about 114 million Friday through Sunday. Gladiator 2, which is the sequel, obviously, to Gladiator from 2000, also put up some big weekend numbers, 55.5 million. Yeah, fans are linking it. This gets a bit tiring to me. Gladiator 2 and Wicked. So, folks, then, glick it. is what they're saying. Give me a break. Okay. Also, Chuck Woolery has died at the age of 83, who was the original host of Wheel of Fortune. He was, his friend Mark Young was visiting Woolery's home in Texas. And Young said on social media, "It's with a broken heart that I tell you my dear brother has just passed away. Life will not be the same without him. R.I.P., brother." So circumstances around Woolery's death have not been disclosed yet, but Young said that Woolery wasn't feeling well and he went to lie down, and then after lying down for a bit, he was up still complaining, called 911 and passed away. So what it was, there was something going on. Woolery clearly not all was well, so he has passed away. I always liked Chuck Woolery. He was an incredibly likable guy and very conservative. And the more I heard from him, the more I liked him. Also, we've got some sports stories trending this morning. Patrick Mahomes being punished by the NFL for they're calling a violent gesture in which he pointed at the crowd. It was two finger, pointing like maybe a gun in hand as he pointed at the crowd and getting a big fine for that. Also, the NFL has come under fire after Jameson Williams was fined almost $20,000 for grabbing his crotch, despite the NFL using that gesture to promote their highlights on YouTube. That seems to be a little bit hypocritical. Also, now the NBA and the NFL have been warning players regarding a slew of burglaries targeting professional athletes. So the NFL had recently released an internal memo following the burglaries of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Their homes were fell victim to thieves. And so the NFL internal memo has been out there. Meanwhile, the NBA released their own internal memo directly addressing an FBI investigation. The FBI reported that in most of the incidents, the homes were equipped with alarm systems that were not activated. The FBI also reported that the homes were all unoccupied, and in most cases, no dogs were present. Also, other sports news trending. Oklahoma delivered an upset of Alabama. And this, it had fans going crazy. They rushed the field with time still remaining. So fans making a beeline with 28 seconds still to go. And so the fans just went crazy. Also, Jason and Kylie Kelce have announced they're expecting their fourth baby. And they shared a photo. So he shared a post on Instagram announcing they're welcoming another girl into the family. And it was pretty cool. So the post saw their trio of daughters all wearing pink sweaters with the words "Big Sister" written across them. And it was captioned, "I feel like we captured a very accurate representation of how each of the girls feel about getting another sister. At least Ellie, Mom, and Dad are on the same page." Great news. Also, the Las Vegas Grand Prix over the weekend, Saturday night, Max Verstappen was the winner. So he finished in 5th place at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. It was enough to capture his 4th consecutive Formula One World Championship. So Max Verstappen winning the Formula One World Championship. Other stories trending this morning. The Texas Board of Education voted on Friday to approve a new curriculum that includes Bible-based teachings in elementary schools. Texas Governor Greg Abbott had voiced his support for the curriculum, and he praised this as a way to enrich students' understanding of American history and culture. Supporters say that biblical references are deeply embedded in the nation's foundation, and that incorporating them will enhance students' education, helping them to better understand literature, history, and even modern day expressions derived from the Bible. And of course, there's opposition. This is just one of those stories that just yuck. The owners of a funeral home in Colorado been accused of improperly storing 190 decaying bodies inside their business. Wow. They had been promising families that their loved ones had been cremated or buried, and they pled guilty to state charges on Friday. This in Colorado. So they each admitted to 190 counts of abuse of a corpse during this. The 44-year-old John Holford agreed to serve 20 years in prison. Carrie Holford faces 15 to 20 years in prison. So they originally faced more than 200 felony charges for abusing corpses, theft, money laundering, and forgery. That's just one of they had moved the bodies, and some were wrapped in duct tape, others partially wrapped in sheets. Some bodies were exposed without any covering. Bodies were found on the ground, stacked on shelves. Yeah, wow. Absolutely crazy. Also, the first woman to command Canada's military called out a U.S. senator on Saturday for questioning the role of women in combat. General Jenny Carnigan responded to comment, forgive me if I mispronounced her name, was responding to comments made by Senator Jim Risch, the ranking member of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee, because he said on Friday, he said, I think it's delusional for anybody to not agree that women in combat creates certain unique situations that have to be dealt with. I think the jury's still out on how to do that. And so the general then responded and said, I would first like maybe to respond to his statement about women in combat, because I wouldn't want anyone to leave this forum with this idea that women are a distraction to defense and national security, which is not what he said. But she said, after 39 years of career as a combat arms officer, risking my life in many operations across the world, I can't believe that in 2024, we still have to justify the contribution of women to their defense and to their service in their country. I wouldn't want anyone to leave this forum with this idea that this is some kind of social experiment, she said. Also, Donald Trump Jr. and Elon Musk joked on Friday about buying MSNBC. Started with Don Jr. sharing a meme about MSNBC being up for sale. He reposted the meme Friday on X and said, "Hey, Elon Musk, I have the funniest idea ever." Buying MSNBC. Musk said, "How much does it cost?" And this just gets it just gets people going nuts. Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff just gets people going crazy. Also, Florida's Surgeon General on Friday recommended that cities and communities statewide stop fluoridating their drinking water because of the risks associated. And, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has caught a lot of flack over this idea of removing fluoride from drinking water. And now you've got Florida's Surgeon General who is suggesting this. And he's saying today fluoride is widely available from multiple sources, including topical fluorides such as toothpaste, mouthwashes, fluoride applications. Evidence shows that fluoride strengthens teeth. So there are a lot of ways to receive fluoride without putting it in drinking water. Other stories that are trending this morning. American Airlines wants to make sure that passengers board only when their assigned group is called at airports. And they're getting ready with a lot of people. Holiday air travel, actually, I believe, will begin today. We will see a big increase in holiday air travel that beginning today. And so there are those who have been cutting in line, as you're supposed to be boarding, so on. What they're trying to do is they're utilizing new technology to stop people who are cutting in line. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Currently, it's partly cloudy in 21. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
The place to go when you need to know.
Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show, and I hope you'll be back at 9:30 as we do the fourth hour. So I hope to see you then. And I want to wish you a really great Thanksgiving coming up. I always look forward to this weekend. So I hope you have a great one. Thanks so much for being here.
We gather to slow down and reflect on what truly matters. Our loved ones and cherishing the simple moments of joy. We gather